She stood backstage, trembling. Her costume hugged her tightly, as if trying to silence her pain. Her cheeks were wet with tears, and the voices echoing from the stage only made her feel smaller. She wasn't in the performance. She had been excluded because of her body. That night, Emma nearly gave up on the one dream that made her heart beat faster. From a very young age, Emma dreamed of dancing. She would twirl around the living room, sway through the aisles of the grocery store, even turn the school hallway into a stage. Movement was her language, and music, her pulse. When she turned 7, her mother enrolled her in the most prestigious ballet school in town, Turner Ballet Academy. It had long mirrors, polished wooden floors, rows of shiny pink slippers, and a scent of lavender and effort. Emma was in awe. She thought she had found her place in the world, but she quickly realized she didn't quite fit. The other girls were all slim, petite, delicate. Emma had a fuller figure, soft curves, rounded cheeks, curly brown hair that refused to stay in a bun. While she tried to follow every instruction with care, she noticed that Miss Turner, the stern and elegant instructor, barely looked at her. It started subtly. A correction here, a dismissive glance there. But soon the words grew sharper. Emma, try not to draw so much attention with your arms. You need to look lighter when you move. Emma didn't know how to be lighter, but she tried. She stayed after class, practiced until her muscles ached, went home with bruised toes and dreams that were starting to crack. Then came the big announcement, the end-of-year recital. Every girl was eager to know her part. Emma waited with a mix of nerves and hope. She had worked so hard, but when her name came up, Miss Turner said it coldly. You'll be in the back row, and please, no exaggerated movements. The audience wants to see grace, not distraction. A few girls giggled. Emma stood still, her heart pounding. She nodded, holding in the tears until she could run to the bathroom, lock the stall, and cry into her leotard. That night, she came home and didn't say a word. She placed her ballet slippers at the back of a drawer and told her mom she was tired. She didn't mention the recital, didn't say that her dream, her first and biggest dream, had just been stepped on. At only 7 years old, Emma learned what rejection felt like, and that sometimes the people who are supposed to guide you are the ones who hurt you most. Years passed, but the pain of that moment never really left. Emma tried to forget the ballet studio, the harsh glances, the words that cut deeper than she could understand at the time. She tried to bury the memory, but it buried her too, school. She became quiet. She avoided group activities, turned away from mirrors, and wore oversized sweaters that swallowed her frame. Her once bright personality dimmed, hidden behind insecurities that she couldn't put into words. When people talked about dance, she smiled politely and changed the subject. But late at night, when the house was silent and the lights were low, Emma still danced. Alone. In her room. No audience, no judgment. Just her, the music, and the echo of a dream she tried to silence. As she grew older, her body changed, and so did the cruelty. Social media brought a new kind of bullying. All it took was a single photo for the jokes to begin, sometimes subtle, sometimes not. You'd crush the stage if you tried to dance now. Are you still pretending you're a ballerina? She read the messages and said nothing, but they stuck to her like shadows. Every laugh in the hallway sounded like it was about her. Every whispered conversation made her heart race. By the time she turned 15, Emma had built walls no one could see. Her dreams were locked inside. Her light dimmed. She was no longer the girl who twirled in public. She moved with caution, not grace. Her ballet shoes collected dust, forgotten in the back of a drawer. To the world, she was just another quiet girl. But inside, she was still that little child who had once believed that dancing could make her fly. It happened on a Saturday. Emma was 18, helping her mother at a small community event at the local cultural center, a simple afternoon filled with music, poetry, and local performers. She was only there to hand out water and fold programs, until one announcement caught her attention. Next up, the Free Dance Collective, showing that every body can feel the rhythm. Emma looked up. 4 dancers took the stage. None of them looked like the ballerinas she remembered. One had a round body like hers. Another had a prosthetic leg. One was much older than the others. The fourth, bold and radiant, wore her natural, hair like a crown. As the music began, Emma felt something shift inside her. The dance wasn't about perfection. It wasn't about weight or symmetry. It was about expression, raw, honest, and powerful. Every movement felt like a declaration. We exist, we belong, we dance. Tears welled up in her eyes, and for the first time in years, she didn't fight them. That performance didn't last more than 5 minutes, but it reignited something in Emma that she thought was long dead. That night, back home, she opened her drawer and found the old ballet shoes. They no longer fit, but holding them in her hands brought everything rushing back. The joy, the pain, the longing. She didn't speak about it to anyone, but quietly, in her room, she began to move again. She watched dance videos online, not the traditional ballet performances, but expressive, inclusive, emotional dance from people who looked like her. Then, one night, she recorded a short video. It was simple, just her feet, moving in rhythm on the wooden floor. No face, no spotlight, just movement. She posted it anonymously with a caption that read, "It still hurts, but dancing helps me breathe." She didn't expect anyone to see it. But people did. The comments poured in. "I feel this. Thank you for sharing. You move like you're telling a story. I stopped dancing too, but maybe I'll try again." For the first time in years, Emma felt something powerful. Connection. Her pain had become someone else's hope, and just like that, she began to heal. One quiet step at a time. Emma's videos kept gaining attention, slowly at first, then faster. People didn't just watch, they felt them. Her movements weren't perfect, but they were real. They carried emotion, vulnerability, truth. She still posted anonymously, still hid her face. But something was changing. The fear that once held her in place began to loosen its grip. Then, one day, she received a private message. "Do you teach dance? I'd love to learn from someone like you." Emma stared at the screen for a long time. Her? A teacher? She almost laughed, then cried, then read the message again. That evening, she finally opened up to her mom. She told her everything about the ballet school, the humiliation, the years of silence, about the dancing in secret, about the videos. Her voice trembled, but she spoke until there was nothing left to hide. Her mother listened with teary eyes and held her tightly. "If your dream survived all of that," she whispered, "maybe it's time to let it live again." A week later, Emma rented a tiny room in a shared community building. She painted the walls herself, hung a few mirrors, brought in an old speaker and laid down makeshift flooring. There was no perfection, just heart. She taped a handwritten sign on the door. "Emma, Dance Collective, all bodies welcome." 3 students showed up to the first class, then 5, then 10. The room wasn't big, but it overflowed with warmth. There were no uniforms, no harsh corrections, just movement, joyful, emotional, human. Emma taught what she had lived, that Dance wasn't about appearance. It was about truth, and truth didn't need permission. One afternoon, a student asked, "Where did you learn all of this?" Emma smiled gently. "From life, and a little from heartbreak." Word spread. Her clips went viral. She stopped hiding. Her face appeared on camera, her voice in interviews. People saw her, really saw her, for the first time, and Emma began to see herself too. But fate had one more moment in store. A final step she never expected. And it began with an invitation. It was early December when Emma received an official email from the State Dance Council. They were organizing an annual conference focused on inclusion and transformation through art. Her project had been nominated for recognition. They wanted her to speak. Emma read the message over and over. A mix of pride and panic surged in her chest. She had never spoken to a large audience, but a quiet voice inside whispered, "You've already said so much," without words. She agreed. The night of the event, she wore a simple green blouse and black pants. Comfortable, confident. Her curly hair was pulled up softly, just like she used to try years ago, back when it wasn't appropriate for ballet. She arrived early and scanned the event schedule. Her heart stopped for a moment. One of the speakers before her was Miss Turner. The name hit her like a wave. Her old teacher. The woman who once made her feel like less than nothing. Emma froze, hand gripping the paper tighter. When Miss Turner took the stage, she was composed and formal, her posture as stiff as Emma remembered. She spoke of tradition, of discipline, of the importance of structure and refined aesthetics in classical dance. The audience clapped politely. Then came Emma's turn. As she walked on stage, the spotlight felt warm, not blinding. She looked at the crowd, not searching for faces, but sharing space with souls. And she told her story. She didn't name names. She didn't need to. She spoke of a little girl who loved to dance, who was told she didn't fit, who stopped moving, until she found a new rhythm. She shared her pain and her healing. She showed clips of her students dancing with freedom, with joy, with truth. And when she finished, the room stood up. The applause thundered. Some were crying. All were moved. As she walked off stage, still catching her breath, someone touched her shoulder. She turned. Miss Turner stood there. Her face was older, her posture no longer perfect. And for the first time, her voice was soft. "You're Emma, from Turner Ballet Academy, aren't you?" Emma nodded once. The woman hesitated. Her gaze dropped. "I was wrong. About you, about what matters. You've become more than I ever imagined." Emma said nothing for a moment. Then gently she smiled, not out of revenge, but release. She didn't need an apology to know she had already won. After that night, something shifted in Emma. It wasn't just about success or recognition. It was something deeper. Peace. The moment with Miss Turner hadn't reopened old wounds. It had closed them. For good. And what remained was a strength, built not on perfection, but on resilience. Her dance school continued to grow. What started as a small room with secondhand mirrors became a vibrant community hub. Classes were full. People came from all over, some to dance, others just to feel seen. Emma never claimed to be a perfect dancer. That was never the goal. Her gift was something else entirely, creating space for others to believe in themselves again. Parents sent letters, teenagers left messages, elderly students cried after their first class. And each time, Emma smiled with the quiet pride of someone who knew how heavy a dream can feel when you're carrying it alone. At the entrance of her studio, there was a mural, colorful, handmade, filled with notes from students. One in particular stood out, written in bright marker by a child. "Thank you for letting me dance the way I am." One sentence, one life changed, and on the final night of that year's showcase, Emma danced. She hadn't planned to, but as her students filled the stage, they turned to her, asking her silently to join. And she did. The music began. The lights softened. Emma stepped to the center, no longer hiding in the back row, no longer told to move smaller. She danced with grace, not because she fit the mold, but because she shattered it. When the music ended, the audience stood. Applause thundered, tears flowed, and in the silence after the final bow, Emma closed her eyes and whispered, just to herself, "This is what freedom feels like." There are countless Emmas out there. People who were silenced, excluded, told they didn't belong. But dreams have a way of surviving, even in silence. And when they rise again, they shine even brighter. If this story touched your heart, don't let it stop here. Like this video to show your support. Subscribe to the channel for more true stories of courage and transformation. And most of all, share this story with someone who needs a reminder that no dream is ever too broken to come back to life. Your click could be the first step in someone else's journey to healing.